Hey everyone, this is Joe in general, your resident reason and evidence enthusiast. It is Friday the 11th of August 2017, and as promised, I am giving you a video on an upcoming ICO, an initial coin offering. And today we are having a look at swarm.fund, the swarm.fund ICO. As they are calling themselves, it is a cooperative ownership platform for real assets. Now, I'm going to be treating this video less like a formal presentation. You guys know that's kind of not really my style. I'm going to treat it more like an exploratory mission. You guys are going to go on the journey with me. Now, of course, I have been doing my basic research on the ICO. It's been on my radar for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Roughly, I've been looking at lots of different ICOs as I do, but this one's piqued my interest the most of the ones I've recently been looking at. So I'll explain why a little bit further down the track. But I want to let you know now it's more like an exploratory mission rather than a presentation. But having said that, if at any time I do think there are points where I can time code, like specific, we move from one subject to another subject, etc., I will put links to the time code in the info section of the page and also as part of the pinned comment. So, swarm.fund, this is how I found out about it. Normally when I'm doing my research for ICOs, I use websites that list a whole bunch of ICOs coming up. So things like websites like ICOalert.com, ICO Tracker, there's many different websites which list ICOs. Some are curated lists and some are just lists of everything that's coming up. That's normally, as I said, how I find out about them. However, it wasn't the case for swarm.fund ICO. Actually came to me via pestering the ever-living hell out of me via internet commercials. Yes, those ads. So I was on bitcoinwisdom.com, for example, and other websites. And, because I'm doing a lot of research in the crypto space, I get targeted ads. So particularly it did pop up here when I was on bitcoinwisdom.com, just looking at the Bitcoin price. The ad's not popping up right now, but interestingly, and I did screenshot it, I was on Facebook the other day as well, and it also came up. This is maybe 2-3 weeks ago. It came up. So this is how it piqued my interest, this ad in particular. So let's read that really quickly. So, Swarm is taking the crypto markets from $100 billion to $1 trillion. Our investment professionals have secured syndicate deals to open lucrative asset-backed opportunities up to crypto investors like you and me, obviously. Within months, anyone, anywhere can invest as little or as much as they want into opportunities such as distressed real estate using digital currency. Participate now and we'll democratize finance together, sales pitch. And so that was the reason why I checked out their website, and it is at swarm.fund. So I checked that out again, over the last 2-3 weeks. Along with other ICOs, but I'm coming back to it now. And I think, as I said, this is the one that I'm the most interested in to find out more about at this stage. I'm not going to say today in this video that I'm 100% going to be investing in it. As I said, this is more of an exploratory mission. I'm going to look at the pros, and then if there's any questions, I already have some questions that I do want to ask, but I will mention those at the end. So this is an opportunity for you to check it out as well, because what happened last time I talked about an ICO, it was the Dentcoin ICO, and I actually mentioned it about 12 hours before the ICO finished, which was really stupid. So this one has got plenty of time up its sleeve. So it's about 27 days until the ICO officially starts. And looking at the calendar, the calculation worked out to, I think it was September the 7th, I believe it was, and I'll try and confirm that for you guys. But I believe it's around September 7th. So you've got plenty of time, about 26, 27 days from the making of this video to do your research on Swarm.fund. But hey, we're going to do it together right now. So let's take a look at the website, and they do have a video that we can watch together. We'll go through many different aspects of this website and their Lightpaper. and their white paper. I'll spend probably less time on the white paper because it's, you know, a bit more in depth. Some of the stuff I've going through, like formulas and stuff like that, I'll be really honest, goes over my head. But you know, smarter people than me would be able to figure out a lot of that stuff. But it has given me a great indication of what swarm fund is, and it's opened up some questions that I would like to try and answer later on, and very likely in another video I will give those answers that I happen to find. But let's quickly go down here. So swarm converts intelligent financial opportunities from exclusive to inclusive. Have a look at the white paper. We'll go back to that in a moment, but we may as well check out this video to start off with. I'm using my external microphone, so hopefully I'll turn up the sound and hopefully you guys can hear this.
The investment landscape today is very dynamic and offers lots of choices, but in reality, for most people, investment opportunities are actually very limited. Take real estate, for example. When you want to participate, you face three major challenges. The most exciting deals are for insiders only. And to access them, you need to work through middlemen that are costly, sometimes untrustworthy, and operate very locally. Secondly, you need large amounts of money to transact on the best opportunities. And worst of all, your investment is tied down for an indefinite amount of time. These challenges are part of any traditional financial category. But the recent rise of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies has made it possible to approach investments in a whole new way. That's why we created Swarm.fund. Swarm is a fully decentralized capital marketplace built on blockchain technology that is entirely owned by the community. Swarm allows experts to run their own syndicates and have other crypto investors join together in deal opportunities with no middlemen involved. When you like an opportunity running on Swarm, you can pool your funds together with others and invest as little or as much as you want to realize the project and see the opportunity grow. The best part is, all the projects become tradable asset-backed tokens. You can buy or sell these tokens whenever you want, and you decide how long to engage. All trades are made using blockchain technology, making them fast, transparent, and secure, while introducing a completely new asset category to crypto investors. The data transparency of the blockchain allows an unprecedented degree of automation, helping you make informed and data-driven investment decisions while using reputational scores to maintain the health of the market. Our vision is to allow anyone anywhere in the world to participate in amazing new types of asset-backed opportunities. Anything from art to solar installations to rainforest preservation projects and many more. Swarm turns financial opportunities from exclusive to inclusive. We provide the empowerment, access, and tradability so you can take part and have your crypto funds work for you. Join the flock and visit www.swarm.fund to participate now.
Okay, so there's a little bit to unpack there, but we'll keep going down. And the video was one of the main reasons. This Facebook ad, and obviously watching this intro video was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go on this exploratory mission with you guys, and why I started looking into the Swarm Fund ICO. So Swarm is a democracy. Get involved in the discussion. So this is the website. Easily deploy capital into real assets using the power of the blockchain. So such assets as distressed real estate, so hassle-free investment opportunities, blah, blah, blah. SaaS, which stands for software as a service. So that's subscription-based software, rather than having to buy and download and install the software on your own computer. You just, you buy a login and a password and you access a sort of a centralized software system. So SaaS and tech corporations invest as little or as much capital as you want without tying up resources. Sounds good. And renewables, that's what they were talking about, like solar panels and things like that. Follow the experts. The brightest investors are already using big data and artificial intelligence to deliver endless opportunities via the Swarm Magic Investment Automation Platform. I'm sure we'll get told a little bit more later down the track. Meet the Swarm token. All gross revenue from the Swarm platform goes to Swarm token holders through our groundbreaking liquid democracy mechanism. Explore our Lightpaper. I will do that in just a second. And this is the team right here. As far as I've been able to figure out, it seems to be this gentleman here, Joel Dietz, who was the original founder of the company, and I think Philip and Timo are kind of they're like the three musketeers, like the three main people involved in swarm.fund. Now I did do my research, and I did find out that, and it's interesting because Swarm, it jumped out at me, the name, and I'm like, I've heard of Swarm before. Why have I heard of Swarm before? Because I've been in the crypto since about 2013, and I initially thought, oh, is this like Swarm City? And no, this is to make that well known. This is not anything to do with Swarm City. This is swarm.fund. It's on its own. But I had heard of Swarm before. I'm like, why have I heard of this before? And I, through my very, very excellent research skills, i.e. Google, I just got to the Bitcoin Talk website, and it looks like Swarm have been around since about 2014 or mid-2014, and it looks like that they have they started one particular version of Swarm, or version of Swarm, 1.0, I guess. And for whatever reason, and I haven't fully looked into the reasons why just yet, but for whatever reason, it's either stalled or maybe their first iteration either failed or didn't go too well, etc. Now, let me make it clear that failure doesn't mean a bad thing. In order to get to success, you have to fail a million times. I mean, that's smart people understand that. So it does look like they've failed in some kind of way. Whatever that way is, I'm going to do some more research and find out why. If any of my subscribers or any viewers to this, have more information as to, what went wrong last time. Again, things going wrong isn't necessarily a bad thing. You learn from your mistakes. But what went wrong last time, and I will also try and reach out to the Swarm community via their Telegram app here, the Telegram group, to find out maybe why things didn't go, so right last time, and what they've done differently now to make this ICO worth investing into. But this is their Telegram group. And I did check it out very briefly. I have signed up, and I did see this little section right here. And I guess it's the too long didn't read version. Is someone asked, how can I get in on this project? I didn't see an ICO, but it seems you guys have been around for a few years. What happened? And someone named Leah replied saying, I don't know if she's part of the team, or she might just be a Swarm community enthusiast. Leah has said, ICO later this month. Swarm originally launched in 2014, so that's confirmed, as crowd equity model. But things did not go according to plan, and since then, research and development, etc. Now this is the latest incarnation. Okay, so that's the too long didn't read version of, they tried it once before in a different way, it didn't work out for whatever reason, and now I guess they've change things, fix things, improve things. Hopefully, let's find out. And now this is their new incarnation of Swarm.fund. So let's go and check out their Lightpaper, and I might sort of move in and out through the Lightpaper and the Whitepaper. But what I actually did want to go back down to, as I mentioned, the three musketeers there, Joel, Philip, and Timo, I think it was. So we'll just quickly learn a little bit about them. It's always important to find out about who's heading up these things. So core team, this is on the Whitepaper. So Joel Dietz, this is him right here. Joel Dietz co-founded the first smart contract educational channel, Ethercasts, the Ethereum Silicon Valley meetup, wrote the original AppCoin manifesto, and built the first decentralized asset and governance platforms on the Bitcoin blockchain. His facilitation of the LoveNest blockchain community living space set up in Palo Alto has included many presentations on decentralized autonomous society, DYOR, democracy, I think I'm pronouncing that right, futarchy, and liquid democracy. Here we go again, this word about this word or phrase liquid democracy. I want to find out more about that. He holds degrees from Brown University and the University of Pennsylvania, won prizes from Google and Salesforce. Cool. So that's Joel Dietz. Sounds like, and at looking at the old Bitcoin Talk Swarm crypto equity crowdfunding thing that they started up back in 2014, it definitely seems like, you know, he's done some replies, and in the Telegram here, he's done some replying to people. It does seem like he is definitely the head honcho, or at least the original founder of. Again, it's something I'll try and confirm a little bit later on down the track. And we've got here Philip Pieper. Philip is a serial tech entrepreneur and became interested in decentralized technologies in 2015 when interacting with BitTorrent. It's incorporated, and the Mozilla Foundation, two very large companies, as you know. Philip has been a startup entrepreneur for the past 15 years and is a veteran in the digital data space. After holding various private equity and management positions within Deutsche Bank, and Allianz Group. Interesting. Philip was founder and CEO of Proximic, a global data provider for digital media buyers, acquired by Comscore, and is mentor at various accelerator programs, I guess, such as Stanford, Singularity University, Tech Code, holds degrees in engineering, business admin, and attended Berlin University of Technology, and UC Berkeley, and Huss School of Business. And lastly, Timo Lees, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Timo has over 20 years of experience from starting, running, exiting, of course, and investing in software companies. Timo has served as an investor and executive in technology companies with extensive experience from building, running, and investing in software companies and leading various merger and acquisition deals. Throughout his career, Timo has invested in more than 40 companies. With specific focus on fintech, financial technology or fintech. He has contributed to the creation of several alternative investment platforms. Currently serves as a board member at Banker Bay, the world's largest deal organization platform. Private equity deals, holds degrees in engineering, a lot of engineers, and business admin, funnily enough. Chalmers University, studies at Stanford School of Business. Okay, so as far as I'm aware, they seem to be the three head guys, with Joel being the original founder of. So I just wanted to quickly talk about the founders, or the head people in the company. That's always important to know their background. So let's go to the Lightpaper. Swarm, cooperative ownership platform for real assets. Swarm Lightpaper. Let's learn more about what Swarm is and why it has piqued my interest. So, crypto tokens backed by real assets. Swarm.fund is creating a unique market infrastructure model that enables you to invest crypto assets into real assets and deploy traditional capital into real markets in a new way. With Swarm's infrastructure, investors can create and operate. Now, I found this interesting. With Swarm's infrastructure, investors, you and me, I presume that's what they mean, can create and operate asset-backed tokens and participate in composite of wealth creation. So it seems like at this stage you can both invest in financial opportunities and also potentially, and this is something I'll try and answer in another video, and can also create and operate your own asset-backed tokens within the Swarm platform. I think that's how I understand it. But let's explore some more, and we'll see if that gets confirmed. So here's a little diagram here. So crypto tokens today, it's worth about $100 billion roughly, and real assets on a chain. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by real assets, so maybe they'll explain that a little bit later on. And then you've got old world finance, as they're calling it. So that looks 3T, looks like 3 trillion in hedge funds returning less than 3.5%. And right here you've got, that's the regulatory compliant corridor. So that makes sense to me. In what they're calling the old world finance, like hedge funds, real estate, or hedge funds that deal in real estate and foreclosures and many other types of financial assets, the old world finance, there is, and I know this for a fact, there is, and I'm sure you guys know it too, there's a lot of red tape. to invest in these type of old world financial assets. You've got to jump through a lot of hoops. There's a lot of regulatory compliance. For example, there's anti-money laundering, AML. There's KYC, which stands for Know Your Customer. There's a lot of identification reporting. There's a lot of red tape to get into this old world finance. And you also need a ton of money. So it's kind of out of the realm of possibility for someone like me and possibly someone like you who has, just a little bit of cash to invest. Sometimes not a little bit, but certainly not necessarily millions and millions of dollars, which is, I guess the traditional barrier to entry into old world finance, as they're calling it. So they're saying, or Swarm is saying, that Swarm is the bridge. They are the bridge. Swarm.fund connects the crypto market, me, investors, to real assets. Again, I want to find out what they mean by real assets, and old world finance. So it seems like they're the bridge to this. Maybe they're going to be, the Swarm platform is going to be handling a lot of, or maybe they've already got their T's crossed and their I's dotted. Maybe they're handling a lot of that regulatory compliance-y sort of stuff already, so you and me don't have to deal with it. Maybe that's the case. Let's see if we can find that out. So going down more in the Lightpaper, sorry. Exponential market growth, our value proposition. Crypto markets have hit 100 billion on the underlying potential of the platform technology, but what will bring these markets to over 1 trillion is the introduction of real assets. Again, there's that word real assets. I want to find out more about that. And so let me say it again. But what will bring is the introduction of real assets and partners from the existing financial industry. Swarm has both the, okay, here we go. So Swarm has both the partners and team to deliver on this $1 trillion potential. So it seems like the Swarm platform has partners from the old world finance and I guess what they're calling the real asset class or real asset basket, if you want to call it that. And they're calling themselves the bridge. So I think they're claiming that they're bringing to the market partners that you can invest in old world finance, or again, it's the barrier to entry is being broken down. It seems to be. 1 billion to 1 trillion. Yep, there we go, to 1 trillion. So how it works, here we go. So number one, purchase. So this is you and me. Purchasing Swarm tokens gives you membership in the Swarm network. So that's, there we go, it's a membership token. So, pardon me, that's seems to be like other ICOs, for example, the SALT ICO, SALT Lending, SALT Membership token, which I have recently invested into a small amount. That is the SALT token is a membership token into the SALT lending platform. So it sounds like exactly a similar thing, purchasing Swarm tokens, which is the token that is up for sale during the Swarm Fund ICO. I think the code is SPV. I'll double check that. I'm pretty sure it is though. Purchasing Swarm tokens gives you membership in the Swarm network. So number two, after you get your Swarm tokens, you participate. Swarm members govern and fund asset-backed expert-run real-world projects. So what do they mean by govern? Govern, I guess, would connotate voting and stuff like that. So Swarm members govern. I presume there's maybe some sort of voting thing going on there. As far as I've been able to ascertain, that does seem to be the case. So Swarm members govern and fund asset-backed, expert-run real-world projects. Number three, choose the projects. So projects become tradable asset-backed tokens on the Swarm utility network. So it seems like we've got a main token that you purchase, and then you can vote to choose what projects get funded. Sounds kind of like crowdfunding, but with voting, if that makes sense. I'll try and explain that a little bit better further down the track if I can. But you purchase a Swarm token, you get to vote on which projects Obviously, there'll be people vying, people with their own projects vying for your swarm tokens, and then people vote to see which projects get funded and receive your funds, your investment. Now, in what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. What you receive for investing into the project with your swarm tokens, you get a different asset-backed tokens. It sounds like you've got the main swarm token, and then within the swarm network, the swarm platform, there are going to be different sub tokens. So tokens based on the individual projects that are being funded, if that makes sense. So number 4, create value. Projects represent, again, here's that word, real assets, and create new value for members. So here's the basic structure of Swarm, a logical view of the Swarm platform. So Swarm members, that's you and me if we decide to get into the ICO and we purchase the Swarm tokens. Now, project allocated Swarm tokens right there. And then it looks like once you allocate your Swarm tokens to a particular project, you get in return SUN tokens. As far as I've been able to word, that's just an acronym for Swarm Utility Network Tokens. I guess each individual project, once it gets funded, I guess the name of the token may change. I'm not quite sure. That's maybe a question I can ask. I can try and find out in the Telegram. I might actually even try and reach out. Well, I'll reach out via Telegram and ask a whole bunch of questions. And I know that I guess he's the CEO, Joel, or maybe Philip or Timo. I think I've seen them all, as I said before, talking here on and answering questions on there. So maybe I can speak to them directly and ask them some questions about that. But that's sort of the basic model. So make sure you check out the Lightpaper. Let's scroll down. Now, when Swarm platform makes money, so do you. Our core mission is to democratize finance. This means allowing all people to share the best deals and opportunities, not only the already rich. So there you go. Again, there's that original sort of barrier to entry is you've got to have millions and millions of dollars to sort of get your hands on those more traditional old world finance, hedge funds, and the big things like, housing foreclosures and that sort of stuff. And there's all that red tape to get through as well. But it seems like, and again, I could be wrong, but it seems like the Swarm platform has that stuff already taken care of. But that's, again, I think that's going to be one of the big questions I'm going to try and find out. But again, as I said, not only the already rich, so you can invest, a small amount. All our partner funds pay a usage fee for the platform, which the community can decide how to distribute. Okay, sounds again more like that liquid democracy thing that they're talking about. I want to know more about that. Swarm is better. Okay, so let me just have a nice little drink of water. I'm trying to do as little jump cuts in this as possible. We're going to try and keep this, as I said, real exploratory rather than a, presentation. So Swarm is better. Swarm goes beyond the typical ICO models. Typical ICO approach. Let's read these together. So typical ICO approach, utility token on public blockchain, as opposed to the Swarm approach, which is a utility token on public blockchain plus, here we go, unlimited sub tokens on the private blockchain. So again, that's correct. You're buying the Swarm token as a membership token, and then you get to vote, it seems to be, on which funds will get invested, will get the money, and then in return for your investment, you get a sub token. That seems to be the case. So unclear. Okay, so a typical ICO approach, unclear underlying value. Okay, Swarm approach, sub tokens backed by highly profitable sub funds. Okay, so unclear underlying value. I think that's kind of begging the question, to be honest. Unclear underlying value. Well, that depends on the ICO. I think, there's some ICOs that I'm invested in, like if you take Populous, for example. And this isn't a competitor to Swarm because it's a different thing, and also they've already had their ICO, and it's that's all done and dusted. But Populous ICO is it does have underlying value in the software. If you go check out Populous, that's one that's been quite popular just recently. But there are many ICOs which do have a clear underlying value. If you have a look at Sandcoin, which I think their ICO is still underway, for example, that has it seems to be, I feel like, a very clear underlying value. So I think that's, I understand that this is probably, this is a sales pitch. So I understand that, being a salesperson in the past myself, you have to use a little bit of sort of hyperbole. So I understand why they would say unclear underlying value. Subtokens backed by highly profitable sub funds. So typical ICO approach. Hammer and nail approach to legal. Okay, so here's where we come into this whole legal thing. Hammer and nail approach to legal, i.e. single Swiss non-profit foundation. I will admit I don't know what that means, and so I always like to admit when I don't know something. I'm not quite sure what that means. Again, this is an exploratory video. I don't have all the details. I didn't look this one up. But the difference that Swarm claim they are being, it's a Hydra approach to legal. 7 networked legal entities in different jurisdictions united by one platform co-op. So as again, it does sound like the bridge they have is a lot of that regulatory red tape that normally you and I would have to fluff our way through to get into these sort of really large, the investments that only the super rich can normally get into. Again, I'll try and answer that question, better in, say, the Telegram, for example. But let's go back down. Typical ICO approach, unclear relation with regulators. Okay, that's sort of similar to this point here. Swarm approach, openly approached. So they've openly approached lawmakers with the model in 5+ countries and ran legal conferences with extremely positive results. Okay, so it seems like they've been trying to dot their T's and cross their I's, and it seems like they've mostly or completely done that. Excuse me. Typical ICO approach, unknown or non-existent AML KYCs. That's, as I said before, AML, anti-money laundering, KYC, know your customer. For example, I've worked in the precious metals industry for a number of years now, in the gold, silver, bullion industry, and I'm quite familiar with anti-money laundering and KYC, know your customer procedures. It can be a big pain in the ass. It really can. So the Swarm approach is fully compliant AML KYC through private blockchain implementation. That's interesting. And fully compatible with local jurisdictions. Again, it sounds like they're bridging that gap with all the red tape. Typical ICO approach: prototype product or no product. Again, I think that's one of those sort of hyperbolic things because it is a sales pitch. A lot of there are, I will admit, there are a lot of ICOs out there which are just complete backed by nothing scam coins, and there are a hell of a lot of them. So I do understand what they say when there's prototype product or no product at all. That's very, very true. But it is a little bit of hyperbole. Swarm approach, working tested product of both utility layer and private blockchain asset structure. Not quite sure what that means, but maybe that'll get answered when we check out the white paper. No operational expertise. Again, that's very much hyperbole. That's kind of begging the question. Of course, not every ICO is going to have zero operational expertise. There are actually some ICOs which have a lot of operational expertise. But again, this is a sales pitch, so I get it. Swarm approach team includes 2 previous CEOs, and that's probably the people I've been mentioning before. 2 previous CEOs with proven track records building and selling companies. Excellent. Okay, so they're just saying we have a lot of experience behind us. Cool, I get it. And I think here we go. There's another sort of begging the question. Hype is the only business model. Of course, not all ICOs are like that. Not all. But again, hyperbole, I get it. It's a sales pitch. But Swarm approach working highly profitable existing business models, and we'll find out a little bit more down the track. So here's the distribution, the Swarm token distribution, and they're saying that we share the pie, 1/3 to you, as in you and me, 1/3 to past contributors. So that's obviously talking about the fact that they did try and for whatever reason failed as such. Well, I guess we'll try and find out more about that in about 2014, 2015, or the last couple of years. And there's previous contributors to Swarm. So it seems like during this token sale, past contributors, because I guess they got in first, right? And I get that. So they'll get 1/3. The Swarm team get 1/3, and we get 1/3 of the tokens. Now, how many tokens are being distributed or being sold? I don't think it's exact. I think it's around about 100 million, but I believe it's sort of up for grabs, or we'll find out a little bit more. But Swarm token distribution, we share the pie. Swarm has been a community from the very beginning. There you go. Here we go, a $1 million token sale that set in motion a whole new legal and governmental framework. Here we go, talking again about legals and framework and things like that. So it really seems they've, on top of that legal stuff. Today, those past contributors are joined by a new team that have pledged to take this $1 million to this from $1 million to $1 trillion worth of value. Every area of contribution is awarded equally. Okay, so sharing the pie. But what we need to know is that if it's, say, for example, 100 million tokens available for sale, then there's 33 million available for sale to us. I think that might be how it worked, but that may be a question I need to answer. And you're in good hands. That's just a list of the team members. So let's have a quick checkout of the white paper. This was the light paper first. So here is the white paper, and I won't go through all of this in detail. I will sort of skip ahead of a few things, particularly if we've answered a lot of questions already in the light paper. So introduction overview. And of course, you can just check this out at any time on your own. I will put a link to these in the pinned comment of the YouTube page, so you can pause this and have a real good read of it yourself. But I did have a skim, obviously, and I'm going to go down to the main points that I want to cover. But let's do the quick overview. I may just skim through this. The Swarm Fund plan, this I guess is their mission statement. Swarm Fund plans to take $1 billion to $1 trillion portfolios. Swarm token holders will govern the platform in which all of this will happen and receive additional tokens on the private blockchain. There again, that's talking about the buy your Swarm tokens for membership and receive additional tokens or sub tokens on the private blockchain. So what that sounds like to me, and I'm pretty sure that's confirmed, is that you buy the Swarm token, and then I would presume, and this is something I'll find out, but I will presume that the Swarm token will be tradable on other exchanges, Bittrex, Poloniex, etc. I did do my research, and I did find out that the initial Swarm token was traded on Poloniex for a while until it got delisted. So it does definitely seem like, and I'll try and confirm that, through the Telegram group. I'll try and confirm whether the new Swarm token will be tradable on other exchanges. I don't see why it wouldn't. But then you've got these sub tokens, which seem like they'll be tradable, like you can buy and sell them on the private Swarm network blockchain. I hope that makes sense to you guys. This system is designed to be adaptable for full regulatory compliance in multiple jurisdictions. Again, crossing their T's, dotting their I's. The corridor between the public and private blockchain tokens is additionally designed to be fully anti-money laundering, know your customer compliant, and to follow the model of existing exchanges. Okay, so they're talking about other exchanges. Fantastic. Swarm is building technology bottom up, which ensures successful execution, blah, blah, blah. Our technology and blockchain co-op model will blah, 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 blah. Cool. So I don't want to, and that's a repeat of that thing in the white paper before. Our value proposition, applying swarm intelligence to Wall Street and automating everything. Viewed from the standpoint of organizational design, Wall Street is little more than a collection of archaic incentive models waiting for a fully peer-to-peer organization to disintermediate, these words, and redistribute the wealth that is monopolized by a small group of insiders. Like the taxi medallions, yes, you got to buy the taxi licenses. Insiders are able to manipulate market prices by creating artificial scarcity and promoting uneducated fear of other models. Additionally, peer-to-peer, we'll sort of, you guys can look at this fully. Again, this is just an exploratory mission to show you guys why I'm initially interested in this, and I'm trying to answer and answer, some of the questions I have. Current investment drawbacks. No, I don't want to do that. I think that's probably why we created the Swarm Fund. Swarm is a fully decentralized blah, 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 owned by the community. Again, here's that, owned by the community. So it definitely seems like you've got those voting rights. Our vision is to allow anyone, anywhere in the world to participate in the value creation within crypto asset category and to capture opportunity in new types of asset-backed tokens. Anything, here we go, anything from distressed real estate to solar installations to rainforest preservation projects and many more. Swarm turns financial opportunities from exclusive to inclusive. We provide empowerment, blah, 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 blah. Make it extremely hands-off, create available for hub investors, introduce a new alternative liquidity hub for project owners. So it does seem to be, and I'll try and answer this in the Telegram group, it does seem to be, I think they seem to have a curated list of partners. Seems like they have a created, or initially the Swarm platform will have a curated list of partners, but then possibly, maybe straight away, I'm not sure, I'll try and answer that, or later on down the track, you and me, if we have a project that we want other people to invest in, we may be able to use the Swarm platform ourselves as well. That's pretty cool, I think. So a hub for project owners with attractive underlying economics to find capital and engage with the investor community, i.e. you, me. Core objective, follow the experts. Swarm allows experts to run their own syndicates and have other crypto investors, you and me, join them in projects and deal opportunities with no middlemen involved. Excuse me, let me take another sip of water. Again, real off-the-cuff stuff here. We are building an ecosystem of experts. Okay, so sounds like a curated list of different funds from sort of real, as they're calling, real asset side of things, and the old world financial sector, which they're coining it the old world finance. We are building an ecosystem of experts with any kind of edge. Okay, cool. Taking into account track record, trading ability, unique data, unique deal access, etc., to allow crypto investors like you and me to follow and co-invest with them. Sounds good to me. This changes the mechanics of the traditional fund GP model, as investments can be as large or as small as the investor wants them to be. Again, breaking down that barrier to entry, don't need a lot of cash, and they can operate the fund structures very flexibly. Also breaks up the syndicates of gatekeepers, again, breaking down barriers and rigid structures, blah, 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 blah. Combine token flexibility with real opportunities. So crypto investors have appreciated the flexibility and immediate market-making function that tokenization has introduced. Absolutely. Tokens and their underlying smart contracts represent the ultimate opportunity of two parties to come together and interact. This is the freedom we want to bring to any kind of great, fantastic. Here we go. So let me go back. That is the freedom we want to bring to any kind of asset class. When a participant likes an opportunity, so you buy the Swarm token to get access to the Swarm platform. When a participant, i.e. you and me, likes an opportunity running on Swarm, they will be able to pool funds together with others and invest as little or as much as they want to realize the project and see the opportunity grow. At the same time, all the projects become tradable asset-backed tokens. Participants, here we go, this is good. All right, answering questions. Participants can buy or sell these tokens whenever they want. Now, I'm presuming, again, that's in the private blockchain, not these sub-tokens. You can't trade these on other exchanges, Bittrex, Poloniex, etc. Participants can buy or sell these tokens whenever they want, and they decide how long to engage. All trades are made using blockchain technology, making them fast, transparent, and secure. Core objective, collective intelligence. We believe in swarm intelligence hypothesis that decentralized networks can outcompete traditional centralized entities, and that the trust and transparency embedded in blockchains highly facilitates this. Ultimately, with Swarm, we envisage a degree of investment automation that helps participants make informed and data-driven investment decisions while using reputational scores. Interesting. Okay, so using reputational scores. I would like to know more about that to maintain the health of the market. But automation goes further, where every step of the investment process, from workflows, blah, 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 blah. Cool. That's sort of, more than probably we need to know right now. Okay, so Swarm Innovations talking about this liquid democracy thing. Network democracy as liquid democracy. So network democracy is a stake-weighted, delegated voting system. So let me read that again. Network democracy, or liquid democracy, is a stake-weighted, delegated voting system, okay, which also provides options for enhanced stake and blah, blah, blah. Stake-weighted means that voting power is directly proportional to the amount of stake you have in a project. So the more that you invest in a particular project on the Swarm network, the more say you have in what it does, or maybe the more Swarm tokens you have, the more say you get to say, oh, well, I want to invest in this project, and because you have more of them, maybe your vote means more because you have more initially invested, if that makes sense. If the blockchain, in the blockchain world, this is typically called your tokens or coins. In the world of stock, this would be called your stocks or your shares. Liquid democracy involves delegated voting and implies that someone can delegate their vote to another party at any point for as long of a period as they desire. Interesting. So this allows them to maintain a degree of control without having to participate in minute decision making. So that sounds like, for example, if you own some stocks or shares, let's say if I'm in Australia, most of you might not be watching this from Australia, but there's a very large company called Telstra, a telecom, network, telecoms, phones and mobile phones and all that. And, like any other major company that is listed on the stock exchange, they have their annual general meeting, their AGM, and a lot of the time they need to put something up to a vote, vote for the new CEO, or vote for some particular outcome, right? Now, because there's so many shareholders out there, they just say, hey, if you don't want to come to the AGM, the annual general meeting, and vote, here's a form to fill out, and you can give your vote to someone else who will be there. So that's what they mean by delegating your vote. So you don't have to worry about having to vote in every single damn decision. If you choose to, you can delegate your vote to another party and at any point for as long as of a period as you desire. That sounds interesting. This is in some way similar to the decision an investor makes when they give someone capital for a project. True. The key distinction being that in a liquid democracy, the investor retains control of the capital. Excuse me. Stake-weighted liquid democracy is a highly flexible governance model which accommodates anything from one member, one vote, I get it, to traditional corporate arrangements to form novel forms of collectives. It also appropriately incentivizes the many different types of possible contributions to a network, blah, 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 blah. More words like futaki. I want to know what futaki means. I'm going to check out the Telegram to see, hey, what does it mean by futaki, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly. Swarm employs an enhanced voting stake process. Okay, this is more about this voting model. I don't want to go into too much detail about this. I guess all you need to know really about liquid democracy is you get to vote for what gets funded, and in the smaller minute decisions you can delegate your vote to someone that you trust. I think that what that basically means. There's a whole bunch of formulas. That stuff goes over my head, so we won't talk about that too much. Again, this is an exploratory mission. I'm not going to read this whole damn white paper to you. The Swarm platform, by virtue of nested smart contracts which pass proceeds up to the maintainer of the platform, is able to fully self-fund. This is an evolution in the funding. A funding pool is an organization governed by network democracy that distributes funds. It can be structured similar to an investment fund, in which case, but I'm not going to talk too much about this voting liquid democracy thing. They're talking about trust here. That's some diagrams and stuff and formulas. I don't think that's the main things that you need to know about in order to make, a semi-informed decision about whether you're going to invest in Swarm Fund. Again, an exploratory video. I'm not saying in this video I'm 100% going to invest or not. I think this is going to be part one of a two-part video series. Process language, I don't really want to know about that. I still want to know about the token side of things. Okay, Swarm token. The token distributed during the token launch is known as the Swarm token or Swarm. The Swarm token is a standard ERC20 token on the Ethereum platform that allows one to use the Swarm software platform. It's a membership token. The utility unlocked by the Swarm token is the ability to create sub-funds, participate in token offerings of Swarm projects, get access to information that is exclusive to our network, and execute network governance functions. It's basically saying the same thing. Swarm token, membership token, you get to vote for the funds that you want to be funded by the Swarm token, but it is a democracy, so if the vote doesn't go your way, that particular project doesn't get funded. That's how I understand that to be. I'll try and confirm that, in the second video. I'm definitely thinking there's going to be a second video now. Get access to, so information, and yep. That's basically what that means. I think participation of its members is key to the Swarm platform. Over time, more functionality will be released that helps generate Swarm intelligence for the benefit of the network. This follows Visa, Swift. All right, so a similar kind of model. So here we go about the token model, two-tiered token model. The Swarm model has two layers. The first layer is a utility token, that's the Swarm token, sounds like, which allows access to the underlying sub-tokens and grants access to the Swarm's governance technology, basically meaning voting rights to vote which projects get funded. The second layer includes the many financial opportunities run by the Swarm syndication partners. Again, sounds like a curated list to start off with. I'm going to try and find out whether someone like you and me who has an idea can possibly, get listed on the Swarm platform. Obviously, jumping through a bunch of hoops. I guess, you got to have, all sort of, you got to be good. Basically, I guess that is what that means. Swarm syndication partners, and made possible through their own applications and tokens on the SUN, the SUN Swarm Utility Network, or Swarm platform, I guess. The use of Swarm surfaces and application layers happens on the Swarm Utility Network, SUN. Participants of SUN will be charged fees. Okay, so that sounds like if you have a project, you'll get charged fees, and that's partly how the Swarm platform makes its money, and sounds like we get a cut of that. That's how I read it from before. But that's in addition to, it sounds like it's in addition to, the other values that the Swarm token has. These fees will be initially denominated. Sorry, these fees will be initially denominated in cryptocurrency, namely Ethereum or Bitcoin, but later also in Swarm tokens. I'll have to find out a little bit more about that. SUN tokens. Now, I think when they refer to SUN tokens, they mean the sub tokens that you get when a particular fund gets funded, if that makes sense. So you give your Swarm tokens over, or you vote for a particular fund to be particular project to be funded, and in return you get these sub tokens. I think they're calling them SUN tokens, SUN referring to Swarm Utility Network tokens. SUN tokens can be custom to each project, okay? Once the Swarm network clears way for a new application to be established, participants of the Swarm utility network can release their own tokens for application. So this sounds like it's talking more about if you want to be someone who's providing a project. So let's scroll down from here. I'm not as interested in that as I am in being just investing in certain projects rather than creating a project myself. Swarm supported asset types. All right, here we go. Excuse me. With the Swarm investment platform serving as a technology reference framework, as well as global liquidity hub, decentralized application developers will be able to create new classes of investment assets. Okay. The following sections lays out defining characteristics of asset classes in which to pilot the Swarm platform, followed by subsequent sections that highlight a number. Okay, project pipeline. Again, it seems to be more for the people who want to create stuff. Let's find out more about you and me as the investor. But this looks like things that we can invest in, or some of the projects will be such as distressed real estate. They talked about that before. Software as a service, growth fund, crypto hedge funds, several others. Let's look down here. Solar installations, for example. Looks like we might be able to invest in crypto mining operations. That's very interesting. Kitten project, don't know what that is. Marijuana farm pods. What? Awesome. Awesome. Okay, I hope that's one. I totally hope that's a project. If they're suggesting here that some of the projects include, distressed real estate, SaaS growth funds, crypto hedge funds, solar installations, and for example, such as like marijuana farm pods, I am all in. Do your research on marijuana, guys. Don't do marijuana. Drugs are illegal, man. But they are going to become legal in, I think, all around the world eventually. This is a huge market, and it is going to be a huge market. Medical marijuana. If I can, and look, I have invested in things to do with medical marijuana before, other shares and stuff. But if I can invest, cryptocurrency into projects like marijuana farm pods and stuff like that, and solar installations and distressed real estate, that sounds pretty cool to me. Do your research on all these different types of projects, these assets that you may find that you want to put your vote towards using your Swarm token. Purpose driven. All right, we'll scroll through that. So here we go. Token offering. Hey, we got there. Definitely going to have time codes in this video for sure, because this seems like it's going to be a long one. Token offering in brief. Similar to a reverse Dutch auction used in other tokens like Gnosis and Omega-1, we wish to find the optimal pricing mechanism in order to accommodate as many participants as possible. The market determines, here we go, the market determines the ultimate price of the token. Now, again, I am a simple kind of guy. I think I've participated in reverse Dutch auctions before. I didn't buy Gnosis. I didn't buy Omega-1. I would have to do some more research. I want to find out if this is similar-ish to, say, the EOS model of token distribution. It doesn't sound, it's not like EOS where they're doing it over a year, but is it like a Dutch auction? I'd have to do my research on that. If you know exactly what a reverse Dutch auction is, how it works, more power to you, fantastic. Hey, and even put a comment in this video and, give me a brief outline of what you understand that to be. Pricing during the sale, Swarm tokens. All right, so you buy them using Ether. And here's a whole bunch of formulas, and I'm not even going to bother with that. That is what it is. Check it out. If you understand it fully, again, more power to you. After the ICO, the tokens will gradually become liquid. Okay, so they have a particular model for buying the tokens. and a particular pricing structure, and it seems like they're going to drip the tokens out gradually rather than you getting them all in one go. And I'd imagine the reason for that would be so that it avoids the kind of, you know, the people who get their tokens, you know, straight after buying and then just dumping them. So like a big whale, like coming in and dumping them and the price just, you know, tanking. So seems like they're trying to avoid that. I might add that as a question to try and find out in the Telegram group, for example. Again, I keep saying this, I've saying this a number of times, this is an exploratory video. So sale phases. So it looks like they had a pre-sale. I obviously did not get into that. Swarm 1.0 token redemption. Okay, so if you were one of the original participants in the original Swarm thing, looks like you're able to swap your tokens for the new tokens. So that's excellent. That's good to hear. Those people don't just get wrung out to dry. They can swap them for, and there's probably a whole bunch of bonuses and stuff, so that's good. There's a fiat token sale, and there's the crypto token sale, which is what we're concerned with here. And that crypto token sale, as I mentioned, looks like it's starting on September the 7th in 26 days and 21 hours. Let's see. And they talk about the token liquidity again, just dripping them out, etc. Token allocation of the tokens, 33 million. Well, that's at 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So it sounds like it's about 100 million tokens. Of the tokens, 33 million will go to contributors, past Swarm members. Yep. 33 million will go to the core team. Tokens will be awarded to contributors, you and me, by the fair equity formula of expected increase in token value. I don't quite know what that means. As described in more detail above, there is a target, yet not a fixed number of tokens to be sold to you and me. With higher demand in the token sale, the share of token distribution owned by the community can significantly increase. I have a question as to what that all means exactly, so that's going to be one of the questions, I think. Here's a roadmap. I'm not going to go through that, so I don't want to waste your time on that. Please just check out the white paper. Again, I'm here for the basics, and then we're just talking about the team. So here are the pros as I understand them. The first pro is that the Swarm token, as I mentioned before, seems to break down the barrier to entry into, as they call it, old world investment opportunities, hedge funds, distressed real estate, solar panels, all that other stuff, and those other really cool investments that we saw before, like marijuana farm pods and stuff like that. So it breaks down that barrier by having all the legal frameworks in place beforehand, all that AML, KYC stuff, making sure that their T's are crossed and their I's are dotted. All that stuff that would usually be a barrier to entry for people like you and me to get into that real, the big financial asset stuff that only the big players could get into. So that's number one. Number two, well, that's sort of part of number one. There is no minimum buy-in amounts. You don't have to be really rich person to be able to get into these sort of older world financial investment opportunities. And the other pro, as I understand it, the voting rights is a pro, a liquid democracy. I do want to find out more about that. And the questions that I have, which I'm going to try and get answered for the next video. So what I want to do is I want to get a confirmation of pro number one, that barrier to entry. Do they have all those legal frameworks in place? You know, have they got all their T's crossed and their I's dotted? Is my understanding of that pro correct? I think it is, but I just do want to find that out. I do want to know more about the liquid democracy. I do think that has been mainly covered in the white paper here when it talked quite a lot about the liquid democracy. But I just want to find out a little bit more about it. It's not a burning question, but I do, want to find out a bit more about it. And I'll let you guys know that in the next video. 3. I want to know what the main reasons were for failure last time. As I said before, Swarm does seem to have been a project from back in 2014, and for whatever reason, it didn't come to fruition. Now, as I said before, you have no idea, I'm sure you have actually quite an idea, how many projects start and fail, and how many projects start and fail and then give up. So the pathway to success is dotted with many, many failures, and failure is 100% absolutely necessary for success. So, doesn't mean that failure is a bad thing, but I do want to know, and I'm going to try and find this out. As I said, I'm going to reach out into the Telegram group here, and I'm going to try and get onto at least some of the longer term members. I'm just going to ask some questions. And, hopefully I can even get on to, maybe I'll get a reply from Joel. Here we go, Joel Dietz, the founder, it seems, or maybe one of the other team members. They seem to be pretty open here. It seems like, as they say, it's, a community. So I'm going to reach out and try and find out the main reasons. I'm also going to, I'll put a link to this Bitcoin talk thing here, and I'm going to try and get through all these 34 thread pages here to see what went on. Now, I'm assuming, and I haven't done this yet, but I'm assuming there are going to be people on here, as usually happens. There are going to be people who are complaining a lot. There are going to be people who are very probably upset, I'd imagine. There's probably going to be the people who are more reasonable and say, hey, it happened because of X, Y, and Z. Don't be too hard on them. I don't know. I'm going to read through that. But if you read through it yourself, I would suggest, don't be disheartened or anything by any people. Oh, this was a blah, blah, blah. I hate this, whatever. You're going to have those people. But I'm going to try and find out the main reasons for failure last time, and I will try and give you those. I'll try and find those answers, and I'll give those to you in part 2 video, which I presume will come up soon. And I want to know, what did they learn from that failure? That kind of ties into the main reasons for the failure. How is Swarm different this time around? That ties into what did they learn from their previous failure. I'm going to try and answer those 3. And I also want to try and find a simpler explanation of the token sale model. Now, some of you will get this straight away, reverse Dutch auction, etc., formulas, etc. You guys might know. Some of you might, look at this white paper and go, yep, get that straight away. I don't, but that's just because I am who I am. So I'm going to seek possibly some simpler explanation of the token model sale. But definitely for me, I am still in the camp of highly considering investing in swarm.fund. I like the idea. I really do like the idea. Cooperative ownership platform for real assets. And I like the types of investment projects that they're bringing to the table. And I like the fact, if I can confirm it, I'm pretty sure it is the case, but they've got all their T's crossed, their I's dotted, all that compliance, annoying compliance crap that I've had to deal with previously, working in the precious metals industry with all the governing bodies and all that jazz. It's a big pain in the butt. So it seems like they've got all that stuff, or they're suggesting that they've got all that stuff in place. I will try and find that out hopefully from the top dogs in Swarm. But as of right now, I'm still, after going through all that, after doing my research for the last, couple of weeks and going through this with you, the journey, I'm still interested in investing in Swarm.fund. I just do want those questions answered, just to cross my own T's and dot my own I's, but it's definitely something I'm considering still. I won't say 100%, but it's definitely on the cards. It may be for you too. So check out their white paper, check out their Lightpaper, and I will put a link. The easiest way to put a link to all those is just to put a link to www.swarm.fund. Again, I think it's September 7th from the date of this video, or it may not be from the date of making this video, not when it's uploaded. That remains to be seen. Might be in 1 or 2 days from now, but it seems to be September the 7th. I'm sure that's easily find-outable. There's a word for you, find-outable, on this Telegram here. And I assume eventually it's probably going to be listed on some of the ICO listing websites. It came to me via those annoying ads, but I'm really glad that it did because this is an interesting venture. So I think that's it, gang. If you want to stay updated, please hit the subscribe button on my channel. As of right now, August the 11th, 2017, I have 4,515 subscribers. Please keep them coming. This is part 1. Thank you for taking part in my exploratory mission of swarm.fund ICO. Hit the subscribe button and you will get part 2 coming up very, very soon. Thanks very much, gang. Stay safe, stay informed. Speak soon.